welcome back to the Allcarnews podcast. Today we have Drake, right?
Yep.
Awesome. Welcome on. And you are big, I think, a lot more on TikTok, I think, than I am. Definitely bigger on TikTok, also on Instagram as well. So go give them a follow. I'll put that right down in the video here or in the caption below of the podcast. So welcome on
Also YouTube.
YouTube as well. Okay, definitely.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good
It's
person.
all the same tag.
Awesome. That is great to know. So you're from all the way from California. That is pretty cool, right?
Yeah, well, actually, I'm in Wisconsin right now.
Wisconsin. That's awesome.
I go to school at UCLA, but
Okay.
my family's from Wisconsin, so I'm here for the
Oh,
summer.
awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So we've had a lot of people from different time zones on here. So it's kind of all over the place, which is really cool.
Right.
Did a podcast with someone from over in Lebanon. So I'm
Oh.
at all different times doing this podcast. They're really fun to do. But I like to get out and reach out to different people in the automotive world with these podcasts and kind of want everyone else to kind of tell their story, because I think it's great to have everyone kind of share their kind of passion with cars, why they kind of got started with everything. And so everyone can kind of figure out who you guys are. So I think it's a great community on the social media platforms that we all have. And now it's your turn, I think. So I want to know kind of why you kind of got started making all these different videos, because now you're really big making videos on YouTube, well, TikTok specifically, but and I guess YouTube as well, and Instagram as too.
Yeah, I mean, I've been into cars for as long as I can remember. When I was a kid, I had hundreds of those like little Matchbox cars. I still have them. They're like in storage somewhere. But yeah, I used to play with those for hours. And I don't know what really started my like love for cars, but I've had it for as long as I can remember. And then kind of last year when the pandemic started, I was home alone. I had nothing to do. I was like, well, why don't I like try making videos? I had a TikTok account. I didn't post anything to it, but I just thought, oh, I'll try something on there. And it kind of was successful. And so I just continued from there. And
Well,
yeah, so it's kind of,
so you kind of just exploded over to like almost over 200,000 followers on TikTok in almost a year, basically. Then
yeah,
that's
it's been
awesome.
pretty cool.
That sounds like TikTok to me, but that's pretty cool. Well, I think you have some of the more interesting, I think, videos on the automotive side. They're all kind of like entertaining and I think engaging. There's loads and loads and loads of people on TikTok. I'm sure you know, even doing car stuff now, and I think everyone's really varied. I'm not big on it too much personally. I'm more big on Instagram, YouTube, and other stuff. But
Yeah.
stuff
Those
that
platforms are definitely harder to grow on though. At
yeah,
least I've noticed.
yeah, definitely. Instagram used to be
Seems
easy.
to boost smaller channels and accounts.
Yeah, no, definitely. Instagram's much harder now, I think, to do that. Even YouTube's really difficult to kind of get a good grip on a following of. But I guess I think it's great with being so big on TikTok now is that now you can have like that following where you can kind of like branch out people everywhere to kind of like,
Right.
yeah, solidify that kind of big experience and stuff.
Exactly.
So on TikTok, you do more of like kind of quick reviews, kind of like features and stuff on like different cars and everything. So what kind of got into doing that specifically?
Well, I think the limitations of TikTok, you only can post, at least you used to only be able to post minute-long videos max. Yeah. So kind of trying to show off a car or explain a car in that amount of time has its limitations. And I think that's why I chose to focus on those aspects, like the cool features and interesting like facts about the cars. Now actually you can post 3-minute videos. Though I try to stay away from that because I think that's a little too long. People have very short attention spans.
Definitely.
Especially on TikTok, you just can like scroll so easily that want to keep things kind of snappy. But that's kind of why I was focusing more on those sides of the vehicles.
Yeah, definitely. And what's kind of like what's kind of like your process behind these? So like you get the car somehow, you do like quick videos. Do you like spend a lot of time kind of planning out the videos that you're working on? Do you kind of think about what you're going to do at the end?
Yeah, a lot of times I'll know a lot about the car before I even get to the car, right? Like I'll have watched all the reviews and I'll read about it. And so I like knowing what I'm about to film with before I even get it.
Okay.
And then there are obviously things you recognize or realize when you have the car. Like I have a Sonata N line right now.
Okay.
It's actually really cool. It's
Yeah.
way like more fun to drive than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Because I had a Sonata hybrid like a month ago, and that thing, I mean, it's a hybrid.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
it has like 140 horsepower. It was really slow, but this Sonata N line is way more fun. And so that was something that surprised me, and I tried to like incorporate that into a video I posted.
Awesome. That is really cool. So it's kind of like capturing, at least I kind of noticed, capturing like the cool highlights of the videos, throwing in some cool text and stuff.
Right.
It's a great like
Right.
attention grabbing feature and stuff, especially for TikTok.
Right.
It's like one of the best things I think about TikTok and stuff.
Yeah.
So do you have any kind of like favorite cars that you've kind of done? I mean, in this year, even so far, like that you really enjoyed the
Yeah.
most?
Well, actually, I just had a Lexus LS 500, and that car
Oh
was
wow.
really nice.
Okay.
It was incredible. It had like these $17,000 rear seats that had massage, and they were like, it was really incredible. So that was really cool. But I think I also, like do like just like news, like car
Okay.
news, and I do it
Yeah.
in that
That
unique
kind
way
of,
with the
yeah, I've seen
brands
that. Yeah.
talking. And I think one of the coolest cars, or cars I'm most excited for that has come out recently, is the Taycan Cross Turismo.
Okay.
I'm a big wagon person,
Yep.
so an electric wagon is really cool, especially from Porsche.
Cool.
That's a car I'm really excited about, and I think could do really well.
Yeah, definitely. Just even branching off on the whole wagon thing. I don't know what it is, but every person who's like an automotive reviewer or automotive news person somehow and for some reason loves wagons, and no one that actually buys wagons, which is so unfortunate in the US, but it is how
Right, I
it
know.
is.
I just saw on your Instagram that Volvo is getting rid of the
Yeah.
V90.
I think the
I've
V6
only seen a
too.
couple of those like actual
Yeah.
V90s because you have to special order them. But every time I've like freaked out because they're
Yeah.
so unique
They're super cool. I mean,
and they're cool.
I see loads and loads of the bigger one, that kind of the taller cross country ones all over the place. But
Right.
there's like they have this really cool one called Ocean Edition, where it's like all almost like a matte white exterior paint and like orange accents everywhere. And I see those like
Mhm.
crazy. I think I've seen maybe one of the regular B90s. It's
Right.
unfortunate, but
Yeah.
it is what it is with the wagons in this country.
Right.
So I didn't even know you had YouTube. My apologies, but do you
No,
do like on YouTube? Are you doing more of like longer like video reviews, like the car?
yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I don't have that many. I think I have like 1,800 subscribers, so I'm definitely still trying to
That's like,
push my following
yeah.
over. But yeah, I do more longer reviews, and I also have been trying to do these more almost vlog style videos, like living with the cars, trying to
Okay.
give a more day-to-day approach, which I think is a little more. I'm hoping it to be a little more unique.
That's definitely more unique. Everyone's just
Mhm.
kind of doing like the point and shoot review and everything, going into
Right,
and stuff.
right.
Yeah, that's a good perspective I think to get from the vehicles. Kind of like
Mhm.
our idea.
Though YouTube, you definitely have to put a lot more work into making a YouTube video than say a TikTok or an Instagram
Yes.
post. And there's right now for me, there's been less return on investment, I could
Uh-huh.
say. So I'm just trying to find that balance right now with all my accounts.
Yeah, the thing with YouTube is even I've learned that it takes time to build a following, get some sort of like reputation on there, get the algorithm start pushing your views, and then
Right.
it's really it sucks on YouTube because what I've learned is that the algorithm, at least on there, it wants you to keep posting videos like consistently, like in like a short time span, and that's not easy
Right.
for like
Right.
reviews and stuff.
Right.
So I mean, the most annoying thing to kind of figure out, well, at least what I've learned, is that just make a whole bunch of random videos about the same thing. Well, not the same thing, but the same
Yeah.
car or something. Be like, oh, here's an interior video, here's a drive video, here's a exterior.
Right.
It sucks,
And
but
then like I don't think viewers like that as much either.
uh,
And yeah, I totally get that.
no, because then you get the comments like, didn't you post this already? I'm like, no, but yes.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's kind of around that, but yeah. I mean, once you start getting a little bit like a traction going, you'll be fine. You
Right.
can kind of do whatever you
Yeah.
want. It's like
Yeah.
nothing, nowhere near as good as TikTok. And now they're doing the whole, what is it called? Shorts.
Oh, I know.
Hate those.
I don't like how everyone is doing that. And like even Instagram Reels, like,
Yeah, I'm not
yeah,
too big on that, but I think TikTok's still the best platform for those kind of short, quick videos that kind of
yeah.
like, grab everyone's attention. Reels, I think, is
hmm
kicked in a little bit. Um, it's just
But
reposting
what a
TikToks.
lot of Reels are just reposted TikToks that
Exactly.
come out like a few days or a week later,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I've tried to do that, and
yeah.
I'm
So a lot of creators don't want to have to make a video all over again. So just
no,
make one
no.
video, post it to both, and
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and I think there's more success, I think, for doing that, at least that format on TikTok as it is. But yeah, it's definitely interesting though. What I think you mentioned quickly before, those longer videos on TikTok just aren't. They don't just do as popular anywhere near as like the quick short videos.
yeah. Yeah, I think I was surprised that TikTok did that, that they released, you have to have a certain amount of followers
Yeah,
to be able to post a 3-minute video. But yeah, it it doesn't seem to work as well with the platform. And then if you
yeah.
accidentally swipe,
You have to go back.
you
Exactly.
have to go back and you have to start all over, and you might have been like a minute 30 into the video, and then it's like, oh, I'm not going to watch this again.
Yeah, definitely. That's a big downside to that. If anything, they should kind of introduce something kind of like a separate kind of video format just for those longer videos, so you can scroll a little bit because I think that would make that
Right,
appealing. But there is IGTV, of course, but on Instagram.
right. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, and I was like, no one uses that at all. I just throw stuff on there. And I
Right.
was
I
like,
remember when that first came out, I thought that was gonna take over, but no.
no, it's non-existent basically. And I see videos on there that
Yeah.
have millions of views. I'm like, who's watching any of this stuff? It's like they're showing me like low volume, super high view count videos. Like, oh, okay, interesting stuff there.
Right.
Um, So that's awesome, awesome. So where you kind of like want to take all your stuff where you got it right now? I know it's still, I guess, kind of early on into it, but I'm sure you have an idea of what you want to do next, going forward.
Right. Well, I'd love to obviously continue to grow my following and um divest myself from TikTok, I think.
Okay.
You know, like not be so reliant on that, because at least last year it was very unstable. It was like President Trump was like, "Oh, we're going to take
Yeah.
down TikTok. Oh, no, we're not." And so I don't want to have to rely on this one platform. So to go on to YouTube and Instagram, I'd love to grow those platforms as well. And then also I think I've been reviewing more like cars in person now, and I really like that, and I'd love to continue doing that. And yeah, to just kind of grow. That's kind of my strategy, my goal right now.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be cool. Um, I guess, yeah, the whole thing with the instability of the platforms was a big issue, I think, last year. Even on Instagram, actually, it was a mess, which we're kind of a victim of, actually, of our old account. But
Right. I saw on
yeah,
your just like bio, like
it was a disaster. But yeah, we always rebuild and keep pushing on. But yeah, so
right.
it's one thing to consider. It's kind of difficult. I think that kind of like hampered the growing ability on a lot of these other platforms. I think that's what
hmm
TikTok kind of prevailed. It's how much easier it is to kind of like explode and kind of get a really good following on there. Um,
Right.
Interesting question though. But you said you go to school out in California, but you're from
Right.
Wisconsin. So would you still
Right.
continue? Would you still want to continue kind of doing these reviews out over there, or do you think it's been difficult to kind of like
For sure. I actually think it might be easier just because
really?
it's in Los Angeles. So
Oh yeah,
and that's
oh
like
yeah, definitely.
our like
Everybody's over
heaven
there.
out there.
Yeah,
So I think I'll have more opportunities to film with cooler cars and yeah, be able to connect with other creators.
oh for sure.
And yeah, so I'm actually really excited about that. I mean, I'll be busier because I'm in school, obviously,
Of course,
but
yeah.
I think I don't see it being an issue.
Okay, interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's definitely more opportunity. Oh, it's a crazy amount of opportunities in California. Just a lot of the manufacturers are out there. All those influencer
right.
people are out there too. So that's a huge space, I think, to gain a good following and kind of reach out to other people. Yeah, it's definitely great. I've struggled with this whole managing the whole school thing and doing this stuff because I'm still stuck on the East
Right.
Coast. So it's not as big here, but there's still some sort of stuff going on. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, it's crazy. Definitely. I just went to go check out the Lucid Motors stuff. I don't know if there's a showroom out over there yet.
I saw your YouTube on that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm sure I'm sure there's one in
There's
California.
one in Chicago,
Okay, somewhat
and
close.
that's about a 3-hour drive from me, so it would be a trip. But
Yeah, it's still a trip. Hopefully a little bit more to go check those out. Just a crazy, really cool experience. I'd love to drive.
I'm really excited about Lucid and that
Yeah,
car. It looks really cool.
yeah. So I saw that speaking of electric vehicles, I saw that you did a Mustang Mach-E. So I think
Hmm.
all these podcasts have ended up doing somehow twist and turn into only electric vehicles afterwards. I'm trying to get to know everyone else. But so how did you like that a Mustang Mach-E? Because I think that's still like a hotly contested product, even though that now that Car and Driver made their EV of the year too, which people are still
Right.
controversial.
Well, actually, it was my parents' friends had it. It was their car, and they were
Okay,
just
cool.
coming over for like dinner with my parents, and they were like, "Yeah, you can film with it." So that was like how I got it. I was very excited about that, and I actually really liked it. I was really surprised. I a couple summers ago worked at a Ford dealership,
Okay.
and so I kind of know like I had a preconceived idea of what a Ford should be like
Yeah.
going into that car. And it was not anything like those Fords that I had worked with 2 years ago. It was much more upscale
Mhm.
inside, which I think it has to be just because it's more expensive. But it felt fitting of a more luxury vehicle. That the interior, the materials were all like nice. There
Yeah.
weren't like scratchy like plastics, stuff like that. And I was impressed overall with the car. It also rode really well. It was comfortable, and
Yep.
it was quick. This wasn't like the GT
Yeah,
that's
of course.
not out yet. This It was just like a all-wheel drive or dual motor
Yeah.
version. Um, but yeah, it was an impressive vehicle.
No, definitely. And I got to check it out somehow twice in two different occasions. And both of the times I was like, it feels very German inside of this car. This doesn't feel like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
Ford. Um, yeah, I took it on a quick drive. I don't know if you felt it's kind of like a vault-like experience. It's really quiet. It felt like solid almost. And
Mhm.
it like really kind of blew me away. I was like, yeah, this is very different. I think it's really unique.
And it didn't feel like a Ford, and I mean that in a good way for the
Exactly.
Mach-E.
Yeah.
Like it makes me really excited for the Lightning. Like if
Oh
they
yeah.
can somehow translate that into a pickup truck, like that's going to do really well.
Oh yeah,
Like
definitely.
I'm really excited for the Lightning. Like I think that could be like one of the best-selling electric vehicles, if not the best-selling electric vehicle.
It probably will definitely probably reach up to that point at a time because I think
Right.
everyone's so in this country at least so familiar with the F-150. I guess they'll feel
Hmm.
comfortable if they want to make that transition over to an EV. Like, oh, I kind of know this. I'll just hop into this. The pricing is
Right.
too crazy from like the other um, pickup trucks in the market.
Right.
This pickup truck, they're crazy. It's like 60, 70,
Right.
$1,000 like a normal pickup
Yeah,
truck
I
these
know.
days. But and
I
it's
can't believe you're going to be able to buy a fully electric dual motor pickup truck, full size pickup truck for 40 grand.
yeah,
Like
I mean,
that's going to be obviously a base version,
yeah.
but
They did not really show the base versions actually. I've seen
right.
pictures and it's a little it's a little sparse, but
I'm
you're
sure, but that's still
still gonna be able to buy
impressive.
it. And it still gets I think it gets this little bit of smaller screen, but inside
Hmm.
it still looks really
And it'll
cool.
have the smaller range, like
Yeah,
230, but I think that's sufficient.
yeah, definitely. I'm really super excited for that to come out too. It's fun because the at least the Mach-E on my end, that was my one of my first like, bigger TikTok videos. It was like a launch video. It was a terrible video. It was completely informal that I did on like an Instagram story in like response to like a question box. And I just like, oh, I'll just post this everywhere, see what happens. And it was a taste of the TikTok comments. I was like, Oh wow, this is people are crazy on here.
Oh, I know. I posted a video of a Mach-E, and it
That's
has well hundreds of comments, and all of them are like, "You can't call that a
oh
Mustang."
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh my God.
Yeah, it's insane. Out of all the platforms, TikTok is by far have the worst commentaries. On it.
Partially because I actually think going back to the platforms themselves, TikTok's comment section is like it's really easy to comment,
Yeah,
and I find myself looking at comments even when I'm just scrolling like myself, like consuming content. I find myself going to the comment section and reading people's comments so much more than like on Instagram and
really.
YouTube. Yeah, I think that like you can turn off comments on TikTok, like if you don't want people
Yeah.
commenting. When I see that, like I don't even want to watch the video
Oh yeah,
because I want to
exactly.
see what other people are talking about. And I think that promotes people commenting, and then you get these kind of,
Yeah,
you know,
definitely,
crazy
definitely.
people like
Yeah,
just
it's insane. At least from my experience, I love the Instagram comments. They're usually end up being like these crazy long discussions or something, which I think I find really cool. But
right.
YouTube was either, oh, great video, or this is wrong, and, and that's it. And then
Right.
TikTok is just like it's everything
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
at it at once. But that was like my first real taste of that, and I was like, oh wow, this is psychotic.
Another thing I got on my video was people are worried about the doors freezing shut on the
Okay,
Mach-E. Like
interesting.
when it rains and then it freezes and you get a sheet of ice, because you just like normally you press the button and the
Yeah,
door pops open. So if they can't do that, which I thought was actually a good idea, but then the person who owns that car, she told me that there's an app you get with the Mach-E, and you can set it for a schedule to like thaw the vehicle, so
interesting.
that
Okay,
if you know it's going to be like, freezing rain, you can set the car to heat up so that that doesn't happen and you can get in the
interesting.
car.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
You know
So
that.
they've thought about that, but
Yeah, I think
yeah.
at least their solution to opening the door is a bit better than some other kind of like those styles of like kind of where it opens up a little bit systems where it has like I don't know if you saw it has like a little plunger in the door that pushes the door open.
Oh, does it? I didn't look
Yeah,
at the mechanism.
yeah. So like inside all the doors is like a little. It literally looks like a little arm that just pushes the door out a little bit.
Oh,
Yeah, so
okay.
I don't think that ice problem should be actually really too bad on. I think that's one of all of them would probably be the best one. I think.
I think part of the issue is though pressing that button. If it's
Yeah.
covered in a sheet of ice, like that'll be hard.
Yeah,
But
I could definitely see that being an issue. I don't think there's a physical, but I don't remember seeing one anywhere. Like a physical way
I
to,
think on the inside,
yeah, they're definitely
like,
on the inside. There,
and then you
there
could
has to
like
be somewhere, but I'm sure it's under the
shoulder.
panels. Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
interesting. But
I know in
um,
a Tesla, isn't it like under the hood? Like, I think in a Tesla, if the battery dies, you have to like
there
go
might be a
under the front.
release under the hood. I that's why I
Yeah,
was thinking. I was just thinking about that with the Mach-E because I've seen there's a release under the hood somewhere for one of these cars. I can't remember. Yeah, the
right.
choice, yeah, it's good to have a backup at least at some point. But I don't know why all these manufacturers are going to these electronic buttons. It looks cool, but it's like
Yeah,
you can still make it look cool and also have it kind of visible,
right.
be sure it doesn't break.
Uh-huh. Does the ID4 have normal handles?
I think it does.
Yeah, because I know that they're trying to be like as normal as possible for a car, and then but being electric.
They
Um,
they're doing as much normal as they can, and so until you go into the interior, and it's just a disaster. I don't know if you've
oh,
gotten.
I know. I haven't sat in an ID4 yet, but I've watched a whole lot of reviews, and
I don't know
yeah,
what
the
they were thinking.
screen and yeah,
The screen, I've heard the screen's gotten better. It's just that there's like touch buttons on the steering wheel. There's touch buttons in the center. You only have two. The big ones. I was like, why is there only two window switches?
right,
You have to
yeah.
press like a touch panel button to
And
access the
like
rear
I feel like
lights,
also the volume knob situation. Like I feel like
yeah,
we learned, like the auto industry should have learned that lesson like
right?
5 years ago when Honda first thought it would be
Yeah,
okay to take that away. And but car companies are
they didn't
still
like.
managing to mess that up. It's like the easiest thing in the world. I don't get that.
Yeah, I think even Audi kind of realized that because they went from All this, if you like the newer Audi models, just those two giant screens, and yeah, there was a
Mhm.
volume button. I think everyone just really hated those. I didn't like them at all.
You didn't?
Screens. I got to try it out, and now they went
I thought
to yeah,
I thought they were better than some systems because of the haptic
yeah,
response. Like that was better, but yeah, I think, and now the newer ones like the e-tron GT
exactly.
and the Q4 e-tron, those they're going back to physical climate
Yeah,
controls.
which is
I
I
think
think that's just the proofing concept of that their actual system was unpopular. So
right, yeah,
yeah, I don't know.
yeah,
I just found it really out of sight. I was like, I'm like looking down to kind of have to change stuff. I know they have their virtual cockpit stuff, which is you're supposed to like, oh, just
right.
up here. But then what's the point of having all your other infotainment system stuff? So
Right.
I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
guess I never drove with that system. I was only like playing around
Okay,
with it
yeah,
in a parking lot. Yeah.
yeah. It's weird
I
things.
was I filmed with a RS6 Avant.
Okay.
That was cars that I
Oh wow, that's awesome.
experienced that system in. Yeah, that was really cool. I went to like a dealership in Milwaukee. They had one and they let me film with it.
I have
That was
not seen a
cool.
single. That's awesome. I haven't seen a single one at a dealer.
There is actually in where I live, someone has one and I see it around sometimes and every time I freak out because it's so cool.
That's awesome.
Uh yeah,
I
yeah.
because I had a there was a Cars and Coffee meet, I think 2 weeks ago, a week. I can't even know. I don't even know what's happening with this weeks anymore. But it was like a week or two ago, and there were so many RS6s there. I'm like, this is boring.
Really?
They're so
Was
cool to
it the
look at.
big
I
one?
was like, it was like one after the other. It was at, of course, it was at an Audi dealership too. So it was like all Audi people pulling up there.
Right,
It's like,
right.
really cool. This is awesome. And then I saw an RS7. I was like, okay, that's cool. But I like that better. Looks interesting. It's a braking
Right.
one. But yeah, they're really cool vehicles. And I guess
Mhm.
if there's one wagon someone wants to get, they can get that. But crazy expensive on those.
Right. Yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah, they're super interesting though. So yeah, I guess if you kind of dive into some of the other automotive current news and stuff, because you do also do some news things and like kind of like that cool like,
Mhm.
um, format you got on TikTok going on, kind of going back and forth, kind of talking about the different stuff. That's always a cool format to do.
Right.
So, what's some stuff like that you're kind of excited for, kind of looking forward to coming up close soon, or anything happening right now?
Well, we just had Stellantis's EV day.
Yeah,
That was a lot
a lot to
to
take in.
process.
Yeah.
My gosh. I think it's almost like what I thought of. I actually wasn't able to watch it live.
Mhm.
I read about it and watched some recaps. I actually watched your recap. Um, it was it's like Stellantis and especially the Chrysler brands are trying to make up for like 5-10 years of doing nothing all at once.
Yeah.
Because on it, like most of their car, not most, a lot of their cars are like 15-year-old Mercedes-Benz cars from when Chrysler and Mercedes were
Hmm.
together. And it's like all of a sudden they're like, oh, these are really old. We need to update these cars and we're going to do electric and like everything at once.
Yeah.
And it was kind of overwhelming, but
It's a lot. Yeah.
I think I think it's good that they're focusing on electric cars. It almost seemed like though that they weren't going to make any other any other type of cars.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I wonder if they still are planning to make gas cars and stuff like that, or if they're planning to be fully electric soon.
Yeah, no, that was actually I had a lot of comments actually asking that same question. They're like, people were asking like, well, what's happening to the new Charger and Challenger? Is there still going to be a V8?
Right.
Are they still making that 6 cylinder or something? And no one really got any like straight answer out of that,
Hmm.
which is really interesting. I know it was their EV day specifically,
Right.
but I think just from looking at like kind of the products they were talking about, I guess we can kind of see that they're still going to make gas vehicles because the timeline of this, like they're really none of these are really coming out until 2024,
Right.
which is
Yeah.
long. I honestly I could spend like 3 hours just talking about everything that was in that video. There's just so much stuff going on there. I've always been a
Yeah.
big FCA kind of like nerd, if you want to call it. I was always
Uh-huh.
super invested. There's like a lot of weird stuff going on at that company, but yeah, they have a lot of stuff that was like I remember those planned that like never really. And they also there's a lot of stuff they did not talk about at this EV day that I know is also coming on the side, which is really interesting.
Like what?
Specifically on the, I don't really know how they're corporately structuring this because I know FCA was very weird how they did it, but there's the Italian brands they didn't really talk about at all. So Maserati,
Right.
Alfa Romeo, Lancia, and
I think Lancia's French.
they're
I'm not
Italian.
mistaken. Oh, are they?
Yeah, they're
Okay.
Italian. Well, they don't. They
We
make,
don't get them here. So.
yeah, we don't get them here anymore. They make one terrible little car, but they're trying to revive that brand too. I think they're. I heard they're branching it underneath Alfa Romeo and Citroen and DS. That's our
Okay.
French brands. But anyway, because I know Maserati, they have a huge bunch of EV stuff, but it's weird that they're kind of doing it alone, which makes no sense.
I noticed that that Stellantis, even back when they were FCA, that they were trying to like push Maserati aside to its own thing. I think they're trying to separate it because I
Yeah,
feel like a lot of the other Stellantis brands don't have the best reputations. You know, you have Chrysler and you have Fiat, and I think they
exactly.
want this. Maserati's almost an ultra luxury brand. Like they're people kind of, I think, associate it, whether it's warranted or not, with like Aston Martin or Bentley. And so I think they want to push it more. I know that their cars are not priced like that. They're more like
Yeah,
Mercedes, something like that. But I think they're trying to push it away from their other brands.
yeah, no,
Uh,
and that's what they did under FCA because I'll just run through this really quickly because no one really understands any of this, but it's so it was like they had the FCA. There's like a separate like company that kind of headed everything. Then there was FCA USA and then FCA Italy, and then US had those brands. Italy had every brand except for Maserati, which made no sense. Maserati was like kind of tied to the main corporate brand, which just made no sense. So I was like kind of like that aspect of they're pushing things to the side, kind of let them do their own thing, but also borrowing from all the other brand stuff at the same time, which is weird.
right,
Um,
right.
yeah, but they have all their own EV architecture coming out with new Gran Turismo, new MC20 is going to be.
Right.
Um, I'm interested to see how that works out for them, I guess. And
Yeah, they just need to update their cars. Like at
oh
the end of
yeah,
the day, they like have Mercedes switch gear from like 20 years ago, and
yeah.
they have Chrysler infotainment systems and panel gaps the size of toothpaste tubes.
Horrible. I don't know if you've seen on TikTok the Ghibli guy who was getting like destroyed everywhere. It's
I
hilarious.
didn't.
Oh, it's I don't know if it's just over here, but it's just blowing up. There's a guy he bought I think a Maserati Ghibli, and well, he's doing it to himself. Everyone's just reposting it and destroying every comment he ever makes. So it's like, oh, geez, this is what's happening with Maserati. But yeah, yeah,
Right.
they have like the new SUV coming out. It's gonna be cheaper, and hopefully that'll be a good
Mhm.
product. But interested to
Right.
see what's going on there. But they also kind of skipped over Alfa Romeo because they said they're going to be trying to build like an electric sedan. They want to do other stuff with Alfa Romeo. Like they have gas cars coming out too. So,
Well, and they have that new compact crossover coming, right? The Tonale. Is that coming?
but that was supposed to be out 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still supposed to be coming. Um, at at some point, it is. I think they saw it out testing actually finally. So I'm sure
The
it'll be
toenail.
eventually.
Like
Yeah.
that's what people are gonna call it here. Like
Yeah, weird names are coming out with what's the other one? The Rimac Nevera fridge in Spain. It's freaking
yeah.
hilarious. I don't know. People gotta be careful with names. I haven't seen the name thing going crazy since like everyone used to talk about the Chevy Nova, back which past everyone's time, I guess right now. That was like in the 70s or 80, whatever. I don't even know what it was. But that meant no go, I think in Mexico or something, and then no one bought it. They bought it, but it turned into a giant joke. But it's kind of funny.
Right.
Yeah, but FCA Stellantis, they should still have some nice stuff coming out. I mean, I hope the
Yeah.
Challenger still exists, not only in India.
Right. I think they should just, well, they just need to update it, period. But
Yeah,
I think what I don't like that a lot of car companies are doing, they're making dedicated new models that are EVs. I think companies should just update current models into EVs, and some companies are doing that, like Ford, and they're like splitting gas and EV. But I think that's what Dodge should do with the Charger
okay.
Challenger.
So what you're saying is they should make like a similar type of car, but just kind of split it off into like an EV.
Yeah, like
Okay.
I think they could just maybe even they don't offer it as a gas car. I don't know. Like just the Charger is now an electric vehicle, say, and then only have that.
Okay, interesting. Because I know there's a lot of manufacturers right now that are, they kind of take their existing cars with like all these cars are like on modular architectures, whatever. Now they can reshape
Right.
them, shove stuff in them, whatever they want. But they're taking those cars and then just shoving batteries in them.
Yeah. No, I
That
think like
that's yeah.
yeah, I think like new generation, completely new design, just electric vehicle. Because I don't like all these electric sub brands, especially the Germans, like e-tron
Oh yeah.
and EQ and I from BMW.
Yeah.
It's just messing up their like nomenclatures and their like lineups. Like it's like now they have like multiple cars in the same segment, but they're different models, and like it's I think it's just really confusing, especially to consumers who don't pay it as much attention.
Exactly, yeah. So, oh, I got you. So you're saying like the kind of like the Mach-E way, to just make a new vehicle and just make it electric, kind of just do that instead of creating a whole
Or
sub
take an
brand.
existing model, when it's time for it to be updated, make that
Make it electric.
electric.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's definitely a better, I think, way to go because the German brands are so confusing right now already. I think, and
Yeah,
there's
like
yeah,
no one knows what GLA 250 means. And now they're
yeah,
just like adding EQ to everything. Yeah, yeah.
right. And there's been studies that even dealers over here and from customers that like no one has any idea what's happening with the Mercedes brands, like the names of the cars. Like they just see it,
Right.
like, oh, I'll just take that. What engine does it have? I'll just take that. I think people forget that like normal people have no idea what any of this stuff means. I don't know if they do
Right.
it
Yeah.
on
Like
purpose, but
I have a friend who's like into cars. Like he doesn't like study the industry or anything, but
yeah,
he's into cars. And I was talking about like, oh yeah, the new C63 is only going to be a 4-cylinder. And he was like, okay, but what about the AMG version? I'm like, he didn't realize that
yeah,
63 meant that it's AMG.
yeah,
So like things like that, even people who are into cars, like it's just confusing and yeah,
yeah. I think Mercedes is the worst with this because
yeah.
their naming isn't consistent throughout any of their cars at all.
Yeah, and
It's
then they
a
changed
mishmash.
the numbers. Like
Exactly.
now 580 means a V8 when it used to be 550, and it used to be 500, but now 500 means a V6. Like it's like, but then
It makes
like
no sense. Yeah,
450 in the E class is a V6, but 500 is a V6 in the S class.
yep,
Like
yeah.
what gives? Like,
It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And then yeah, like you said, with the EQ throwing that on, and then just, well, there's AMGs on everything now, and then I don't know. I think everyone's just getting super confused with everything. But I mean, I think
on S too,
oh yeah,
like
oh
45S.
we don't even. I don't think we get the S's sometimes.
I think we get the
I saw 45 the other day. I was like,
63S.
yeah, for some of them, it's a weird situation going on with that stuff. But
Yeah.
I know BMW, I think, is the hotly looked at brand right now out of Germany for
Oh yeah.
various reasons. What do you think about that? Everything they're doing right now?
I think they're confused. Like they have so they have in Europe, right? They have the iX3, right? Which is an electric
Yes.
version of like the X3. And now they're coming out with the iX, which is like their electric SUV, but that's like the same size almost as an X5. I don't get why they didn't just call it the iX5.
I
And
heard.
like I know it's not on the same platform or
Yeah. Well,
same
I heard
thing,
it was a
but
little bit.
like
I heard it was like huge in person. I was like, looking at some videos and stuff. I heard it was like absolutely massive, but like also at the same time kind of similar, like the size of like a X5.
yeah, like but like how does the iX fit
Yeah,
into BMW's already 7 strong SUV lineup?
right. And
Like I feel like they just need to attach it to one of those vehicles, even if it's not a perfect fit, and say like, this is our X5 portfolio. You can have the electric iX5 or our normal gas
exactly,
X5s. Like I think that would simplify things. And then they have the i4,
which
which is
yeah doesn't make any sense because they're also
no,
making
I
the
mean
electric
it's
3
like a
Series.
Grand 4 Series Gran Turismo, but
Yeah.
it's
Did
also
that?
what I don't like
Yeah.
is that um, actually BMW does this better. So like 3 Series, sorry, this is getting a little off topic.
No, it's
but so
it's perfect.
3 Series is like a normal compact sedan, and then the 4 Series is the coupe version, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then so you have X3 is the normal compact crossover, and the X4 is the coupe version.
Yeah.
Moving over to Audi, it's like they're one number off. So like an A4 is a compact crossover, but the A5 or the Q5 is the compact SUV. Wait, I got that mixed up. Sorry.
Yeah, no,
A4 is the
I know
compact.
what you mean.
Q5 is the compact SUV. Why isn't it the Q4? Like that bugs me so much. And then the Q8 is the coupe version of the Q7, even though the A8 is a normal car and the A7,
it makes no sense, right? Funny story about the Q4 actually. I know now there's the Q4 e-tron finally,
right.
but the reason they didn't have Q4 before is because Maserati had that patented and trademarked worldwide.
Oh,
Yeah, and
right.
for just all of a sudden recently they pushed so hard to get the Q4 e-tron. They're like, okay, you can have it, as long as it's not only Q4, it has to be Q4 e-tron. So that's what they're doing now.
That messed up their entire nomenclature
Right?
for their SUV lineup
Yeah.
now. Because like Q7 should be called the Q6.
Yeah.
And the Q8 should be called the Q7.
Yeah.
Because now they're coming out with a Q9, supposedly.
Supposedly.
That should actually be called the Q8.
They're guilty. They did the same thing with that BMW was doing with the iX though, like 2 or 3 years ago when they came out with the e-tron, and it was just called the e-tron, which was their SUV. But now they have Q4 e-tron. There's an A3 e-tron, which is a plug-in hybrid. Actually, wait.
I think that's gone away now. But
yeah, but and then they're calling
it the e-tron Sportback and the e-tron GT, which are like completely different cars.
I don't know what they're trying to do. I think they're trying to. Well, I think what they're trying to do is create that sub-brand, and then turn existing models into the sub-brand, but by attaching that name to it.
I think they're trying to make it into like a trim level almost.
Yeah,
like the Q4 e-tron. Like they showed off a concept of an A6 e-tron, even though it looked like an A7. That was confusing. That was.
I know, but it's a mess. But and just like even with this on BMW, they're coming out with an electric 3 Series, which I don't know why, and I don't know what they're gonna call that. They can't really call it the i3.
Well, isn't that what the i4 is?
No, they're coming out with like the current 3 Series with like actual. It's just electric.
Well, and you know what also is dumb about Mercedes or BMW? Sorry, is that they called their electric brand I. But I means internal combustion engine tacked onto the end of all their cars, or like a gas engine, because you can have the 330i or the 330d. We don't get that in the US, or the 330e, which is like a plug-in hybrid.
Yeah.
But I means gas, and that's completely different from now. They're making I blah blah blah.
Yeah, and I think the best example of this confusion for them is when they launched the i4 M50. On the press video, or at least on Instagram, I saw on Instagram and I think YouTube as well. At the end of it, every single one of their brands is thrown up onto the screen. So you see the BMW logo, you see the M logo, and then you see the I logo all next to each other in a line. I'm just looking at this. I'm like, what on earth is happening right now? I'm like, this is yes.
And M is like.
I don't know.
Their use of M has become very liberal lately.
M is the whole brand at this point. M is BMW. It's crazy. Right.
Oh my God. And then also, this is going back years, but like when they initially launched the i8 and the i3, why'd they call it the i3? Like
they should have never done that.
Like 3 is like a compact sedan and a compact crossover, and now they have this tiny little hatchback thing that's called 3.
They could have just called it the I. Yeah.
Or like i1, I don't know. Like,
I know.
Because now they can't make a car called the i3, like an electric 3 Series.
Unless they do and just throw a curveball. I mean, I wouldn't be so surprised at this point. They're doing everything kind of crazy. But it's weird because the iX, as much as the design's kind of like extremely polarizing to everyone, I wish I wish it didn't have a BMW badge, if that makes any sense. Like, it's great. I've been looking at a lot of like details into it because it's on a whole new unique EV platform. There's a lot of really cool stuff. They finally redid the interior. They finally are
Yeah,
introducing
I
new
think it looks.
materials.
I don't mind the exterior, and
I
I
don't
think
mind
the
it at all.
interior
Yeah.
does look really cool.
The interior is really cool, and I saw a video of it, and apparently the door panels are carbon fiber standard on all of them. Well, like a carbon fiber reinforced plastic to kind of reduce weight. It's like
Hmm.
there's like crystal panels in the doors. It's like, okay, they're actually trying really hard, but I think
Right.
people just see that BMW logo and just connect it to like, performance driving, and that's it. And they don't see it as like all this other
I
stuff.
feel like most people though see BMW still as like a luxury brand. Like, oh, they have a BMW, that's really cool. Like, I think car people, like, yeah, we're gonna be
Yeah,
like, what the heck
yeah,
is this? Like,
that's true.
I
That's
think
very
like
true.
most people who go to a dealership and buy an X5, they do it because it's like, oh, it's a BMW, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
I think.
but it's
Yeah.
gonna be crazy expensive, isn't it? The iX,
Oh, it's ridiculous. I think it's starting at
over
80.
100.
I think it's starting
Yeah,
at 80 something.
and you can
So,
you'll definitely be able to option it well over
oh,
100.
yeah. But my kind of concern is it only has 300 miles of range, or at least they're saying, which is like, yikes, that's
Is
low.
that going to be on Electrify America? Going to be able to charge on Electrify America?
I I don't know. Actually, they haven't, I don't think they got that far as to going into it. Um, I would hope so, or some kind of there's
Right,
a partnership. I know that charging network's a mess. I've seen videos and it's
right. Yeah, I saw. I don't
messy.
know if you follow the Straight Pipes.
Yeah, I love
Um,
them. Friends with
yeah,
Yuri, and
yeah, I was saw Yuri's story, Electrify
oh,
Canada, which is
right,
just like the
right, right.
Canadian version. Yeah, the Icon,
The
and
Taycan.
it was like, not working.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen on YouTube, there's I think this seems out of spec reviews or something like that. He does these crazy road trips with EVs across the country, like all the
Right.
time. Like he gets all these EVs in his road trips and tests out all the networks. And he goes to like the Electrify America stations and it's like, oh, this one's not working. Next one. Oh, this one's not working. Next one. Oh, this one's not working. I'm like, so how is anyone gonna charge their cars? And then they're calling like their support. And it's like, oh yeah, this one's out of service. Oh, this one's not working, and then it's like different for each car. Like sometimes some cars will
Well,
charge them. It's a
isn't
mess.
Electrify America a result of like the government telling Volkswagen they had to like work on electric vehicle infrastructure?
Yeah, and
So I feel
now
like they don't. They're like,
yeah,
obviously they're now switching to electric cars, but I feel like they're not. They don't care as much as say Tesla about making
yeah.
these chargers great.
Well, I think they kind of have to now because I think a lot of these brands are like almost relying on the network in the US. I know I thought
Yeah.
they're trying to sell off the Electrify America for like $1 billion, which is
Oh, really?
I guess they're trying to get rid of it. They don't want the burden of
How
it
much is
anymore.
the supercharging network that worth then?
And
If
there's
Electrify
yeah,
America is a billion?
yeah, and there's not even that. I think they said partially for $1 billion, like kind of like sell off a piece of it.
Hmm.
Well, that's the settlement that they got hit with here is like insane,
Right,
multi-billion dollars. So I don't want to know how much all these cost, and
right.
but it's nice to see that like I know Lucid when those there come out, all their cars have 3 years of free
Hmm.
charging on Electrify America.
Yeah,
It's
that's great.
crazy.
I think that's a big selling point. I don't know if Tesla has it currently, but when they did the
He
free
did.
unlimited supercharging, I think that's a
That was a big,
uh, selling point.
that was a huge selling point into even just getting an electric vehicle. I mean, now it's I don't think no, I don't think they're even doing that anymore. They're at
I
the
know
point
they like
where
got rid of it and then like brought it back, but yeah,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure those vehicles, if anyone like tries to resell them, I can't even imagine the value on those because I
Mhm.
know the already Tesla's value is terrifyingly expensive, even used cars. Like they're like 3-year-old cars, like $2,000 cheaper than like a brand new one, which is crazy. Like no one can really buy a Tesla anymore, which is nuts. But yeah. But I think the problem with the Electrify America networks is the reliability,
Mhm.
as well as the ease of use. Because if
Mhm.
superchargers just plug in. Electrify America gives out the app. You have to either go to the screen. There's
Right.
issues with it. I know they're trying with the Mach-E and the Taycan, the newer Taycans. They're trying to do that plug and charge where you just plug it in and it's supposed to recognize it. But watching that dude on YouTube, it just wasn't working at all. So he had to kind of like revert back to the old way. So
And then there's also they're just not everywhere yet. They're
no,
not as widely available. Like,
Yeah, so it's a mess that's slowly getting sorted out, I think, over time, but I don't know what to say. And so, to quickly tracking it back to BMW, how do you feel about those grills? 'Cause I know everyone, at least in the comments, are going crazy about that stuff.
yeah, I feel like I'm not a huge fan. It's not like the end of the world. I don't
Yeah,
think like I think it wouldn't prevent me from buying one of those cars if I liked the car, but I don't think they look that good. Just like at the end of the day, like
yeah. I mean, I think it looks great on the M3 and mostly just the M3. The M4 bothers
yeah,
me.
it works
The rest of the
more
car.
on those cars, the performance, like, and they
Yeah,
need a like that makes
yeah,
sense.
definitely.
Like the standard 4 Series, and
Yeah,
I don't think it.
it looks a little weird on the regular 4 Series. I think if you get like the M440i, it looks a little bit more aggressive. It's a little bit more aggressive, I think, as well of a look. But
Right,
it's a little. I've gotten used to it a lot. I did a review on like the regular 430i convertible, like a regular, most basic one you can get. And honestly, it looked pretty nice, actually. I was like, oh, I'm starting to get used to this a little bit, but it takes time to
right.
transition to design. But the general people, I think public, everyone hates it. It's like, oh, gross, ew, disgusting.
The thing
But
is,
like,
I've seen like edits on Instagram of like the current 4 Series with a normal
regular
grill,
grill.
and I think it looked better.
Yeah,
I think people will get used to it, and like
yeah,
once you start seeing it around more, who knows? Maybe in 5 years, everyone will love it, and like
I
those
know
opinions.
exactly.
That
It happens. But yeah, it's weird because I'm so stuck on seeing all these comments. Like we're kind of like stuck to seeing this kind of point of view. But I mean, at these events that I've gone to, I'm like, of course, everyone's surrounding these like BMWs and looking at them, and no one mentions the grill.
right,
No, everyone's like, "Oh, this is such a cool car! Oh my god, this is so cool!" Specifically with the M3s, I know they're more aggressive looking, but like, oh, those seats are crazy. Those are really cool seats, or like, I heard they're really fast, and like, everyone's like, "Oh yeah." Either I may not like the grill, but they're great cars. So it's like that kind of situation, which is interesting. So yeah,
yeah. I think BMW is trying to make it like a signature BMW look. Like I
Mhm.
think like the kidney grill has always been a signature BMW look, but I think they want people to be able to recognize a BMW just from, oh, look at those grills, it's
Yeah,
BMW.
yeah, exactly.
And
They're going
it's
super
definitely
unique.
it definitely stands out
It does.
amongst other cars.
Yeah, and even specifically with the iX. I've seen like more different angles of it, like in video and in person. Well, not in person yet, but like in videos and stuff, or people in person with it, and it looks kind of cool. I don't know. I'm starting to grow on the looks of it, but
No, I'm not against. I think it looks upscale, like
it does.
luxury.
Yeah, it looks very luxury. I think at least what I heard is that the grill looks smaller in person because the actual car's so big. So
Oh,
it kind of balances it out. It's just like in pictures, all you're seeing is like the beaver teeth staring at you. It's like, ah, no, I don't want to see that. But
right.
it's interesting, but it's also fueled, I think, by everyone just on the comments and everything just going crazy and like, oh, this is horrible, and people just track onto
It's easy
it.
to hate on those grills,
Yeah, people just like to do it,
and
I think, at this point for fun. It's a fun thing to do, I think. I don't know, but it's interesting to see where everything's kind of turning to in the industry of everything,
right.
extremes of designs. Even Hyundai is kind of doing that with their super angular cars and everything. But
Yeah, yeah. Hyundai actually, in general, they're just doing great.
oh
The
yeah,
whole group,
all
they're
their
like,
stuff's incredible.
yeah, they're kicking ass over there. Like,
Oh yeah, definitely. And everyone still forgets that they still own 12% of Rimac, so we gotta stay tuned for what's coming with. They're having a partnership.
Hyundai does?
Hyundai owns 12% of Rimac.
What?
Yeah, no
Like,
one talks about
Porsche
it.
controls everything, but
Yeah,
it's trying
yeah,
to take over the world. But
yeah,
uh,
and that ownership remains even though they're doing all the other stuff. So, um,
wait, I thought okay, so Rimac just merged with Bugatti, or they're
well,
about to.
sort of.
But okay, so I thought that
It's a
Rimac
mess.
owned. Oh, I see. Rimac owns like 55% of this new company. Porsche owns the other 45%. and then Porsche owns 24% of Rimac. So Porsche actually owns like 58%. I did the calculation. They own like 58% actually of this new company when you combine their ownerships.
Well, there's now three Rimacs. They split the company into three companies now as of this like merger thing. So they're like they created a joint venture company. Then they
Right.
created Rimac Technologies, and then there's Rimac Automobiles now. And then so I was there's a chart that explains this from Rimac, and it still makes no sense. It's like it's unnecessary. Like, no one really cares. All everyone sees is like, oh, Rimac, Bugatti, and Porsche all working together, really cool. But like the corporate structure is ridiculous. Because I think
I thought that they just formed a new company.
that's what I thought originally. Yeah, but
And there's also Rimac Holdings now, which owns most or 55% of this Bugatti Rimac.
yeah,
And then supposedly owns 45%, but then Porsche already also owns part of Rimac. I don't know.
it makes no sense. I think everyone sees is that they're all working together. There'll be some cool products I think coming out of it, but yeah. But like, at the end of the day, I think Porsche just has control over everyone, and it's just Rimac and Bugatti underneath them now.
Well, the Porsche family at least actually controls Volkswagen.
I know.
They're
Yeah.
controls the Volkswagen group.
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, I try to explain that to people, and they're like, "Oh no, Porsche is Volkswagen." I'm like, "No, Porsche basically owns Volkswagen in a way."
Porsche holding company, they have the most voting power.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, that matters.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Just everyone when they hear Volkswagen, they're just like, "Oh, all the cars are the same." No, like no, there's a lot more going on there than you think it's actually going on there.
Right.
But it's yeah.
I did not know that about Hyundai. That's really interesting.
It's either 12 or 14%. I can't remember off the top of my head. It might even be 13. I don't know those numbers.
Or which Rimac do they own? 12%.
Well, this has been for the past 2 or 3 years now. So I guess it was the original. I have no idea. I'm sure it's in Rimac, the Technologies or one of those other companies, but it might be in the core company too. But because there was rumors of them partnering on working on that. They're making like a mid-engine like hatchback hybrid thing. I don't know if that's still happening. Yeah, and as well as if they finally do build that electric Genesis coupe, it would probably be like a partnership with them too. So like, oh, that's really cool. Yeah, that'd be really cool. So I'm super excited.
Ioniq 5 looks cool.
Yeah, I really want to check that out when it comes over here, as well as the Kia one, the EV6, and then Genesis will have their own version of that too, and then.
Oh really? They're gonna?
Yeah, that's called the GB60. I think.
Okay. I think the Hyundai looks better than the Kia.
Really?
Yeah, I like the cyberpunk kind of style.
Really cool.
But I think that the Kia, I don't know, it just kind of looks, it's different definitely than most cars because it can be because of it's an electric vehicle, and I don't know, it just kind of looks odd. Kind of looks like a pod.
It does, yeah. It comes like a pod. I just saw a video of it. I think people in the UK already somehow got a hands-on with it, and as they're kind of going through the design, like, oh, this is really cool. It's really, I think it's interesting. It's very forward for them, kind of like a very different concept with Hyundai, who's going really sharp lines, and Kia's like smooth, shaped out. It's cool. I think it's a cool concept, but I'm really excited for the Genesis version. Actually,
I didn't know they were doing that. Because they almost look like hatchbacks. Those two, the Ioniq 5 and the EV6.
Yeah.
Like I think they're styled to look like hatchbacks, but then when you see them, they are like obviously way bigger.
Yeah.
And Genesis has made some beautiful cars lately.
Love their stuff. It's really great. But I think those vehicles that on that platform have the same wheelbase as the Palisade.
Yeah, I heard that.
But they're kind of shorter.
Tiny overhangs.
Yeah, it's like that's really interesting. There must be a lot of space in the interior, which is kind of
right. And then Ioniq has those seats that fold down all the way, right? Like
the reclining seat.
That's good for that's smart for like charging and stuff. Like if you want to like take a nap.
Take a nap in your car while it's charging up. Yeah, and those have those 800-volt battery architectures. So that means I know the number. I know. Oh, it's 350 kilowatt hours of possible charging that can charge up to. So it's
Right.
like super, super. If you can find one of those chargers, which I think only
Right.
Porsche dealerships have, but
Really?
now in the US, but yeah, those that can charge from like 10 to 80. Hmm?
Icon can do 350.
Yeah, because it has
Some
the same 800-volt architecture too.
Right.
So that's like, I think the example they gave is like 10 to 80% in like 20 minutes or something like that, which is
that's
crazy. Yeah, so I think the only company that has a charging voltage higher is Lucid. They claim like 877 volts charging or something like that.
okay.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of numbers with the EVs that I think no one really understands just quite yet. There's like volts and kilowatts, kilowatt hours. I'm like,
Right. Yeah. Everyone knows MPG because it's like easy and like gallons of fuel and range, but like
I don't know.
it's
Here it's annoying. They put MPGE. I'm like, why even keep it as MPG? It
right.
doesn't make any
It's
sense.
also like miles per kilowatt hour. That seems like a way better thing
Oh
for
yeah.
electric.
Yeah, I
If
think
you know the battery pack, which some companies are like, we're not going to tell you that.
which yeah, Tesla doesn't even talk about their battery pack sizes anymore, which is
Yeah.
kind of strange.
I,
But
I really liked that when they used to have the numbering on the back,
yeah,
like, oh, that's 100 kilowatt hour, that one's 90. Like,
now it's just
yeah,
short or long range or performance, and that's it.
right.
That's all you kind of got. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like people don't like, they might get confused with the additional numbers being thrown into all this stuff. Like,
That's
what's all this mean? But
And it's like cool bragging rights, like, oh, my car gets 110 miles per gallon. Like,
yeah, that's also true.
it doesn't have any gas in it, like at all.
Yeah, but the whole EV thing's weird because you have like the Jaguar I-Pace, which has a 90 kilowatt hour battery pack and gets like 235 miles an hour of range, 230 miles of range. I would say miles an hour. Then you have like a Model 3, which also almost has like an 80, 90 kilowatt hour battery pack almost at this point, and it gets like 150 more miles of range.
Yeah.
It's like
Well,
it's
that partially shows Jaguar's
behind.
engineering ability.
Yeah, it's
But
all
they're
down to
supposedly
like
they're going electric, right? 2025.
I wouldn't buy one of those for reliability stuff with them, but yeah.
Yeah, but they're yeah, they're trying to turn that brand around, and it definitely needs to be turned around.
Yeah,
They're like
yeah,
they've like lost their way.
I know.
They're
They're
kind of
still,
they used to be so cool, and now they're just kind of they tried to go all German, and they went like too far. It's like they're so like
yeah,
unstyled.
very bland in the X. I think the new interiors that just are coming out for this model year are incredible, but X outside it's just kind of getting a little stale, I guess, a little bit. I know the new F pace facelifted one looks really nice, but I'm
Yeah,
they I think they focused a lot of money on the interior because I think people were complaining they're a little too
yeah.
plastic, a
I
little too
do,
bland. But
I
yeah,
do like that interior on the F Pace
yeah,
and Discovery. They kind of have similar setups.
yeah. The screens are kind of similar too.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting stuff they're doing. I'll see where they kind of go with all that, but I know there's new ownership or something going on there, so there's a lot of stuff might change. I think going forward.
Right. It's still Tata, right? They're still owned by Tata Motors.
Tata owns them, I think, but I think they have a new CEO.
Okay.
Something happened because I know there's a lot of stuff being talked about that right now. So because I
Well,
know
yeah,
Jaguar's flipped around.
yeah, I don't think Jaguar would have survived if like I know they're gonna go all electric and stuff, but down their current path, I don't think they would have survived much longer in the US. Jaguar itself.
Oh
I think
yeah,
Land Rover has Range Rover, and people really like Range Rovers just because they're like bougie and fancy.
yeah,
But um, Jaguar itself, I don't think has that same appeal
yeah,
right now.
yeah. No. But Land Rover, Range Rover, they're all SUVs, so like their sales are pretty high. But then Jaguar, they have this is the F Pace and the E Pace, or whatever it's called. They sell okay, but it's
Like not that nice.
crazy expensive too. It's for what it is, and it's like I would just go for another competitor's vehicle at that point.
Right.
But, even the Evoque, I'd rather get over the E-Pace, but it's the same car.
Right.
But it's it's interesting. Hopefully
Mhm.
they'll do something good coming into the future, but we'll see where they go if they survive any much longer. But yeah, it's a
Too
lot
bad
of
'cause I think they're a really cool brand, like
oh yeah,
historically, like Jaguar is like cool and like very British, and all of that's really cool. So yeah, I hope for them that they do well.
Definitely. Yeah, we'll see where they go. I know they were supposed to come out with that electric XJ sedan. They canceled it, which
Right.
I don't know why they would do that. Yeah, it was. They probably lost a lot of money on that actually, because I think they were already pretty deep into the development. They had like the prototypes running around and everything too. So
Really?
yeah, so I don't know what's gonna happen with that.
I feel like that would have done directly competed with like an EQS or a Lucid Air,
Yep.
and
I think
there's kind of a market for that right now.
I think the problem was I don't think it was gonna be able to match with like the range and all that stuff. And I think that in the long term, I don't think it would have sold enough to kind of justify all the costs of like
Right.
developing it and everything. But which was kind of weird because they already did develop most of it. But
Right.
I don't know. It's weird.
And I don't think the I-Pace is doing as well as they would have hoped. But it's kind of ugly. Like it's not. I don't think it's that good of a looking of a car.
I remember it won some design award when it came out. I'm like, why?
I think because it was different. But yeah,
I've seen them on the roads and they look cool driving around when they're all like, I've seen them all blacked out. I'm like, oh, that looks kind of cool. But
I think that's kind of what the EV6 looks like. They kind of have the same shape as like an I-Pace. It might be a little size, but that's like the very abrupt end of the overhang after like a slanted roof. I don't know.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's a weird kind of like SUV hatchbacky type shape thing.
Right.
The Mach-E kind of suffers from that weird thing too, because it's really low to the ground actually, but it also looks like an SUV, but like a wagon and a hatchback. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's better though than those other cars.
Yeah, definitely.
I think they did a good job trying to style it like a Mustang. For what they were trying to accomplish in making it a crossover, I think they were somewhat successful.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny because I had a person that used to formerly worked at Ford, and they left, and they're like, "Oh, do you want this is years ago now, and they're, do you want the CAD files of the Mach-E?" I'm like, the what of the what? And this was like before anyone really knew what it was, and he sent it to me, and I'm like, what am I doing with this? So I tried to make this really, really, really crappy render of it, and I still have it somewhere. I think it's on YouTube, and it was like, oh, I hope it doesn't look like this, and it kind of like blew everyone's expectations when it came out. I'm like,
yeah.
But I've always kind of like been fascinated with the whole project, kind of like when it first started, because they're like, oh, it's gonna be really cool, like electric Mustang, and the naming thing kind of just like blew in their faces a little bit. The traditional crowd, but people who are buying them love them. So
yeah, I think and I think they can't make them fast enough right now, which is all that Ford cares about at the end of the day. They don't necessarily have to please the car community as long as people are buying them.
Yeah, because I think people get tied up between like there really is like a whole like unspoken politics side of the whole car stuff on social media and just like talking about things, and then there's also just like the regular consumers who just see like, oh, cool car, I'm gonna buy it. So it's like a huge.
I think the fact that it is called a Mustang will just lead to more sales. Like people are like, oh, I'm driving a Mustang, like look at me.
Yeah, most people are like, oh, well, that's really cool. And I think it was like the #1 selling car in Norway or something for like a month or a quarter, which is like, oh, cool, there you go. That's just,
and it was one car and driver vehicle of the year. Like it's a good, from what I experienced, it's a solid vehicle.
Yeah,
and
definitely really good.
Yeah,
I was impressed with it. I was like, oh, this is actually really nice. And even though all the Tesla people will attack you, like, oh, it's not as fast as my Tesla. Oh, it's slower. Oh, it doesn't get as much range. Like, I know, but not everyone wants a Tesla, unfortunately, for you guys. But yeah, it's a good
like a dealership that you can just take it to if something goes wrong, and like that aspect I think is more important than some people realize. Like Tesla, you kind of have to like wait for them to come to you, or like, and their service centers are scattered.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because they just built a absolutely massive service center right down the road from me, like not too far. It's huge. I was like, where did this? It came out of nowhere too. I was like, oh, this is unexpected, and so I guess they're trying to like kind of focus a little bit more on that, because I know that's been an issue for a few years now. They're terrible service, but yeah.
And I follow TFL Car on YouTube.
Love them. Yeah.
Yeah, and when they had their Model 3, they got into an accident, or they like backed into a garage door, and then like getting it repaired at a body shop, and you have to find a Tesla certified body shop that also works with your insurance company. And like, I know at least in my state, in Wisconsin, Tesla's not allowed to have like service centers or body shop.
Oh,
No, they can
wow.
have body shops, but like service centers, because it's
Okay.
like a competition
Yeah.
laws. Like
Yeah.
um, you can't, car
Directly
companies can't have
owned.
stuff like that. So it's like, it would be hard for like in my area. I think the nearest body shop is like in Milwaukee, which is like 2 hours away from me. So that
Oh,
kind of,
that's horrible.
yeah.
Oh,
But I mean, a lot of people have Teslas around here. So
okay. That's that's also pretty cool. I guess they're kind of getting used to it in the colder environments. I guess in the winter, that must be an interesting
right.
to deal with. As I know, the Mach-E's, they don't have that heat pump thing, which I don't think people have gotten a taste of what it's like not to have that just yet, because there hasn't really been a winter with the Mach-E's yet. So
Right.
those like help with
Yeah.
improving the range in the
Well,
winter.
yeah, we'll definitely experience that here in Wisconsin at least.
Yeah.
There was like 2 weeks last year where it was, or this winter where it was like 10 was the high. So yeah,
That's
we'll experience that, I'm sure.
yeah. That's crazy. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up around now. I actually gotta head out a little bit soon, but I want to thank you for coming on, for taking time out of the day to come and join on the podcast. Of course, a great conversation. I always love talking about cars, and of course, learning about your pages, what you kind of are doing, and where you kind of want to go down the road as well. So,
Right.
thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much for coming on. I can't speak anymore, but and have a great rest of your day.
You too.
Awesome. Signing off.